Um, I'm team lead for the C++ implementation and the stability language at Ethereum. Um, and yeah, Ethereum was an important topic already here, so I would like to give you a short overview of what it actually is, what you can do with it in general, and perhaps a little bit how it works. So, so I clicked on you. Yeah. So let's start with looking at what I mean. I'm probably preaching to the choir here, so I'll keep this short. What are the problems with currently existing centralized services? Think of things like Facebook here or Google. Yeah, they are data silos and more gardens. It's extremely difficult to get stuff out and to yeah plug new things into existing centralized services. They are very vulnerable. If the centralized, the server goes down, then it's impossible to use the service. Privacy is unclear. There's no transparency. You do not know what happens to your data and which algorithms are used. Anything can be manipulated, and no one will notice, in theory at least. And yeah, as I said, it's very difficult to combine two existing centralized services, at least for an outsider. Distributed networks, on the other hand, are very different. It's not a new concept, as you probably know. Um, Here, every participating node connects to at least some of the other participating nodes, and data is only communicated between the partners that are interested in communication. And it does not all have to go over the centralized server. It's very resilient. If some nodes go down, then the network still exists and the service is still provided. But so email is a service that has exactly these properties, or at least most of these properties. The problem with email is that it's missing a consensus there. So it would not be possible to implement something like money over email, because yeah, you can send someone money over email via email, but yeah, no one keeps track of your balance, so you can just send anyone $100 and yeah, there's no way to check whether they actually have one. And this is where blockchain technology comes in and adds the necessary consensus layer. And so a very high overview of the blockchain is that you can see it just as a ledger, a book that everyone can see, and everyone can write new stuff into that book. So, and everything that is written into that book is signed by a digital signature. And this makes it possible to implement something like money over a decentralized network. So I didn't explain how it works, but just how it looks from the outside. And the best known example here is Bitcoin, which is a digital currency that is fully, or less fully decentralized. It was invented by a person called Satoshi Nakamoto, whose real identity is unknown. But yeah, it's a really great thing, but the problem is that everything that goes beyond the simple currency is very hard to do with Bitcoin. So it's focused on implementing a currency, and that's where it works really well, but yeah, it's hard to go beyond that. And that's why Vitalik Buterin proposed the Ethereum project at the end of 2013. And so during the summer of 2014, we were able to raise $18 million in a pre-sale of the tokens. And the network itself launched in end of July 2015, so almost exactly 1 year ago. And yeah, we from the beginning were always we designed this whole thing to be a non-profit organization that creates open source and free software tools for everyone to use. So we We of course do not run and also do not want to run the network. We just provide the tools and the frameworks for everyone to build applications on top of Ethereum. Yeah, also the community is really big. We have more than 250 meetups around the world with more than 40,000 members. In general, we try to be a community-driven research and development. So how does Ethereum work, or what can you do with Ethereum? You can imagine it as a globally shared single computer. So it's a single computer that runs programs, and everyone can access it. Everyone can create a program that runs inside this computer, and every execution of these programs can be watched by everyone else. That's what makes it so transparent and secure at the same time. These programs are called smart contracts, but please, so that's kind of a marketing term. I mean, what is smart? Smart cars. Also, I mean, most of the existing meanings of contracts do not apply here. It's not a contract in the legal sense, and it's not a contract in the formal methods sense. So it's just a program. Every smart contract has, so we can, again, looking at this analogy of the shared ledger of the book, every smart contract has a page in that book, which can only be written to by the smart contract and by no one else. Everyone can read it, of course, but writing is only allowed from smart contract. And the great thing is also that all programs can talk to each other. They can interoperate, send messages to each other, call their functions, and that's what makes it really great, because we can, if you build an application on top of Ethereum and you stick to some common interface that all others also use, then you can just exchange that program for any other program that looks similar. So if you build a Facebook on Ethereum and someone else builds a Facebook on Ethereum, then you can just use them internally. Facebook is not a good example here because it's really complex, but if you build a token on Ethereum and you have another program that uses tokens in general, then you can use your new token that uses it. Yeah, so and the overarching goal of Ethereum is to use these smart contracts to replace existing intermediaries which need to be trusted, and the trust goes into the smart contract. And also, if you compare that with open source programs running on the cloud or on a server, the big difference here is that you perhaps see the source code that was supposed to be used on the server, but you never know what actually runs in the server. Whether the source code was modified just to review all of you personally, or whatever runs there. And for Ethereum, you always see exactly what runs in this one. What are possible applications? So one of the simplest applications is something we call a multi-signature wallet, which basically manages your money. It's a smart contract where you put your money in, and if you want to spend the money, you need to provide multiple signatures. So multiple people have keys to the smart contract, and only 3 keys are turned of the 7 keys, then the money is transferred from the server. And something else is land registries, so a book that lists who owns which strip of land. And on Ethereum, it's not possible to manipulate that. And you can transfer a strip of land just by calling a function, by providing a signature. You do not need to go to some centralized registry somewhere. You can just use the software. Also, decentralized auction, someone puts something up for auction, and then people can bid, and the highest bidder wins. And this is also fully automated. Crowdfunding, for example, the DAO or other DAOs, and shareholder voting, that is also used in those DAOs. And as I already said, smart contracts can interact, so you can combine all of these. You can create a multi-signature wallet to take part in your crowdfunding, and this crowdfunding votes about bidding in an automated auction to buy a strip of land. Yeah. So this is, yeah, you can't see anything here, but this is Mist, which is an unfortunate name choice in German. This is our main application to use the Ethereum network as a user. That's where you can see a list of all the smart contracts, all the decentralized applications that exist on Ethereum, and you can interact with them similar to how you would use a regular browser nowadays. Yes, the way you implement decentralized applications is also very similar to existing browser-based applications because everything is using HTML and JavaScript and communicates through the backend node that connects to the network. Yeah, that's it for now. Hope you have some questions. Quite fast.
Could you say some more about maybe the challenges or risks of this technology?
I mean, we currently have challenges in the area of scaling. So there's only a certain amount of transactions and interactions with smart contracts that are possible in a certain time frame. And the more the network grows, so the basic problem is that in order to be safe here, everyone has to rerun all the programs that are run on the blockchain because everyone needs to check whether no one cheated. And this, of course, becomes a problem when the network grows. And so we're actively researching that area, and the idea there is to, or one of the ideas is to, change the system so that not everyone needs to check every transaction, but the people who check the transactions are kind of selected in a random process so that you cannot predict whether you will be selected to check the transaction. And of course, if someone wants, they can always check all.
Can you describe a bit more the practical implementation? You just mentioned that it runs in you deploy a program in JavaScript. Where does it actually execute?
So there's always a front-end component and a back-end component. The front-end is written in JavaScript HTML, and the back-end component is written in Solidity. That's a new language created. And it runs inside also a new virtual machine we created. And the language looks similar to JavaScript or perhaps C. It's statically typed. Uses a lot of the features that are provided by the virtual machine. For example, this storage area that is provided to the smart contract, which no one else can modify. These then map to just member variables of the class, basically. And
That virtual machine, you want to be knowing the network you run on.
Yeah, so there are multiple implementations of the clients. The largest of them are implemented, one is implemented in Go, that's the most popular. You just download that and run it, and that's part of the network. And then there's one with Rust, one with C++, and also soon JavaScript and Haskell.
So, have you ever considered whether, to let people run their own Ethereum, let's say a separate blockchain that is not really mapped to money, so to speak? Like if someone would want to say, I want to start the exact same system, but I want people to be able to join without necessarily buying tokens. Generating them in another way, like through other means that is not necessarily Ethereum, but using so basically the same technology without involving money somehow.
I mean, running a separate network is trivial. You just change the network identifier and then you start from scratch with a new blockchain. Not using money is difficult. The reason for that is because it's an open system. So anyone can join the network at any time and with any amount of computing power. So, and if you send a transaction to the network, then people run the transaction and verify the transaction. And it's a good way to compensate them for that, because then they will continue doing so. That's the main purpose of having the token in the first place. So you have to pay for the rest of the network verifying the transaction. It could work without that, to just remove that layer, or I mean, you can also just give away the tokens free. Then that removes the value. That's how our testnet actually works. I mean, the tokens are not given away for free, but there's a gigantic amount of tokens, and people just have the idea that they are worthless, so they give them away for free. And the testnet also works. People want it to work because that's a way to try out things for free, which is not run on the real Ethereum network. So, but yeah, doing that on a large scale with a different purpose that could work, but
Right, and to that question, is there Ethereum testnet? Because
yes, there is a testnet.
So the testnet. Well, substantively, yes, because testnet tokens are free.
I'm not sure, but was the question more like, is that possible as a general concept, or is it just possible now for you to try it out?
Yeah, so more like with this platform.
No more questions? Anyone? I think there is also Christian in the room who does meetup for smart concepts. And is that correct?
I am doing meetup for class 6. Not necessarily smart.
Okay, but there was one dedicated to smart contracts.
So we have here in Berlin the Ethereum Berlin meetup, which happens irregularly, roughly once a month or every 2 months. And then there's another meetup by Christian, which is more decentralized technologies in general, but with a strong focus on Ethereum.
Yes. So these two options are definitely good possibilities to get know more about Ethereum and smart contracts. Okay, thank you so much.